Hi there, I'm Misty Ann back in my closet, this time talking about what to wear to a ski resort. Not what you wear when you're skiing, I did that in my last video, which I'll post a link to, but what you wear out around the resort, either at night for dinner, or if you take a day or an afternoon off for skiing, so that you can stay warm and cozy, but still look stylish. So if you've got a ski trip coming up, stick around and check out what I packed on my last ski trip. So if you're often wondering, what am I gonna wear next week? You need some ideas for what to wear to work, what to wear on vacation, what to wear in retirement. I do these wardrobe planning videos every Sunday night, and you can check out my wardrobe planning playlist. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, give me a like. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's talk about what I wore on the plane. So it actually was a little bit chilly down here in Houston the day that we left. I think it was in like the 40s, which for us is like uber cold. Even with that, most of the time I feel pretty silly wearing my big fur coat in Houston, Texas, unless it's at least 30 degrees. But I did want to take it with me, and I was really glad that I did. So this is pretty bulky. This is a faux fur that my mom got me several years ago when I first started making these annual ski trips. And I've really enjoyed it. And like I said, I do wear it in Houston. Occasionally we do get those really cold days. Or if I have a client that's out of town in a cold area, there's definitely been times that I was glad that I had it. This is extremely warm. Dennis Basso is the designer. And so I've definitely really enjoyed this coat. It's got two nice deep pockets. I try not to keep a ton of stuff in there, but sometimes I will put my gloves down in there. I am a big lover of isotoner gloves. I think I've worn these since I was a teenager. I used to have some dark brown ones, which actually would have worked better with this coat, but I lost one of those. But anyway, I've still been very happy with these black ones. These are a little bit thicker. Isotoner used to make some like really thin ones. I do wear these in Houston when it's cold enough for gloves, but they were great for traveling, so definitely kept these handy and mostly not in my pockets because they are a little bulky. Mostly went on and carried those in my bag. And then I got this little, I think this actually is rabbit fur. I got this little hat when I was in Steamboat several years ago skiing, and it kind of matches nicely. It's thin, it's got like a little knit lining, it's very warm, so it was very comfortable to have for when we got off the plane. One thing about skiing, I went to Telluride, as I mentioned, where you cannot, right now it's very hard to get those flights that are directly into Telluride, and a lot of times they will get canceled because it's a pretty small runway. So a lot of times you're going into Montrose, or when you're skiing, a lot of times in general, you're just going into a smaller airport. And it's interesting how a lot of times you'll actually be on those old-timey little sets of stairs outside of the small plane going into the terminal, and having that hat really can be handy for that little trip, especially if it's snowing. So that was what I brought for outerwear. Then for my actual plane ride, I had my Gen 7 jeans, and I love these. They're very, very comfortable for traveling, kind of a nice thin, they're skinny leg jeans. But I did, because they are kind of thin, go on and put some tights under them. I didn't really think I could necessarily get long underwear under there right now, so I did wear tights just because I was worried that I was going to be extra cold. And then the other thing that I did was I actually took my the knee boots. One of the reasons I took them is because they do have a rubber sole as opposed to leather, so I thought that would work better in the snow. It's a pretty thin one though, so I was lucky it wasn't actually snowing when we were on the trip, but there was snow on the ground, but I mostly had places to walk where the snow had been cleared. Had I had to walk through deep snow in these, I definitely would have ruined them, so definitely something to keep in mind. What's nice about the over-the-knee boots though is it's just an extra layer of warmth, and I found that did, between the jeans, the tights, and these boots, keep my legs very warm, so that was great. The only challenge I had in the airport was this little tiny bit of metal. I don't know if it was this or it's somewhere in the heel, but even though I have a TSA pre-check and global entry pass, I still had to take off my boots because they set off the metal detector. So that's one thing to keep in mind. On the way home, I actually switched to my Ugg boots. I've had these for years. I think I got these the first time I skied when I was 40, so 12 years. I love these things. They've held up really well. They're a really fun thing. I use Leela's trick for keeping them standing up for storage. The nice thing I like about these too is that you can actually fold them down and wear them with the wool on the outside. I wouldn't do this when I was skiing, but I do this at home a lot, and it gives it a completely different look. So I really enjoyed these boots, and I find even when they get worn, it just kind of gives them more of that patina. It just kind of gives them a little bit more character. So I thought, okay, I'm going to be smart on the way home, and I wore these. They have a zipper, so they still set off the alarm. So kind of hard to win there, but the good news is you're wearing nice thick socks, so it wasn't just the worst thing in the world to have to take off my shoes to go through the metal detector. So on the way there for my top, I wore this, this underneath is actually new. I got this on Amazon. It is APRLL is the maker. I'll post a link to it. It's kind of nice and soft. I don't think I would wear this piece just out, but as a layering piece, it was really great. And then I wore it under this little sweater from my Noah. I don't know if you really call this a sweater. It's kind of just a nice, thick fabric. And I was very warm. As a matter of fact, I was too warm. So they did a really good job, actually, of heating the airplanes, which I think is a first. Usually I'm freezing cold on airplanes, but in this case, I actually was kind of warm. So one of the things that I might consider next time is when I leave Houston, maybe foregoing the tights underneath, or maybe eliminating one layer underneath, putting that in my carry-on, and then when I get to the airport where I'm going, then just go to the bathroom and slip those on real quick, and then I'll be good when I go outside in the really cold weather. So you'd think I would have learned my lesson on the way to the airport, on the way back, but I didn't. I was just really cold the morning that I got up ready to leave. So I had I'd washed these from when I had worn them skiing. And so these are my Athleta leggings. And then I just had the little matching top on. And so what I did was at the resort for breakfast that morning, because we had kind of a late checkout, I just threw on this little Athleta sweater dress, and then just a pair of black leggings over the Athleta athletic leggings and athletic top. And that was what I actually ended up wearing to the airport. And once again, I was actually a little too warm. So I think if I had to do it over again, maybe just tights in the leggings instead of actual athletic, 2 pairs of leggings. And I probably didn't need that long sleeve athletic top. Maybe again, just a sleeveless athletic top under this probably would have been enough. Okay, so now let's talk about what I wore while I was actually in Telluride. So for the first night, we just had a casual dinner at the hotel. I just wore what I was wearing on the plane. The second day, we did ski most of the day, and then I had a nice spa treatment in the afternoon. So not a whole lot of walking around during the day other than in ski clothes. But at night, I wore this, which is one thing to keep in mind when you are at ski resorts is most of them, at least the ones that I've been to, are pretty casual. Now, I've been to Telluride, I've been to Steamboat, I've been to Deer Park, and I've been to Jackson Hole. So I've never been to Vail or some of the other places. So if you've had a different experience at those, please let me know in the comments. But from my experience, it's pretty casual. It's really cold. You're not going to see a bunch of people in big spiky heels, because who wears that when there's snow all over the ground? So I felt really comfortable. The first place that we had dinner was up on the mountain. We had to take the gondola, so we had to walk a little ways in Mountain Village. This is a really warm sweater I got several years ago from Athleta. And I love this little guy because he'll come down over your shoulders, or he'll go up into a hood over your head, or just kind of cowl at the neck, all of which can be very convenient when it's really cold. This was the only necklace that I took. I actually did wear this on the plane. This is one of the ones that I got at the It's All About You boutique. I'll post a link to that. I don't know what I did before this thing. It seems like I wear it all the time now. So it was just a great, nice little casual necklace. I really didn't wear a lot of jewelry. When you're up on the slopes, you don't want to have a bunch of jewelry on. Metal gets cold, it'll freeze. No reason to have that there. So I think I just took like this one little pair of earrings that I wore at night and maybe like one ring and then this necklace. I did also wear this scarf. This is a scarf that I made a couple of years ago when the big macro scarf thing was in, when everybody was wearing these big massive scarves, and I had a lot of leftover yarn and I love these colors, so I made this. It might have been a little bit overkill, but I'll tell you something, it was really cold walking to that gondola and even riding in that gondola. The gondolas that we rode in Telluride were not heated, so it was pretty chilly, and it was nice to have this thing, so I was not complaining about that. And then the other thing that I wore were these gray pants. These are from Black House White Market. They're actually just kind of a nice thick fabric. I did wear long underwear under both of these pieces. I've had this for years. I think I bought this at least 12 years ago. But it's just some nice long underwear top. There's probably much better technology out there now. And then just the matching leggings underneath the warm pants, underneath this, and then with my big fur coat and my nice little scarf. I was nice and warm and toasty. I did also have my hat. My boyfriend was, on the other hand, was a little chilly. So I would say having those extra layers definitely makes all the difference. Our second day was a little bit more laid back. We started a little bit later skiing. We finished a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Just kind of took it nice and easy. At 53, I find taking some of those falls isn't quite as easy as it was when I was in my 40s, but we still had a really good time, and I got my ski legs back pretty quickly. By the way, I highly recommend, if you've never skied before or if it's been a while, hire an instructor for a half day. It's a lot of money, but to me, I find it's well worth it. If you're new and you're with somebody that's been skiing a long time, they can teach you some bad habits. So it really is worth it to have somebody for when you first start that teaches you the right way to maneuver your skis, and it makes such a difference. And then when you do go back after several years, it's a lot more like riding a bicycle, only with the good habits learned rather than having to unlearn those to get to the next level. So when we got back on that second day from skiing, we had a little bit of time. I actually ran into a friend of mine when I was on the plane on the way up. It is amazing how many people you will see at these places that you know from back home. A lot of Houstonians go to Telluride, so I don't think I've ever gone there and not run into somebody that I know. So I ran into a friend of mine on the plane, and we did decide to meet up for drinks after skiing that second afternoon. So for that, I went home, got cleaned up, and I had this wonderful pair of wool, I don't know what you're going to call these. I guess they're wool leggings, but they're pretty thick. They're about 68% wool and a little bit of spandex and a little poly something else. Wool normally itches the heck out of me, but this is actually not too itchy, very warm, and I just love the pattern on these. These are Athleta. So these were the leggings, and then this cute little matching top, and then this cute little dress, which is just kind of a nice, thick, lined material. That I wore on top of it. It has a couple of cute pockets. This is all Athleta, and I just put that with my little Ugg boots and my nice fur coat and my hat, and I was warm and very comfortable on my way over to the little bar where we met up, and we had a couple of drinks. So then when we got ready for dinner later, I just kept on this same undershirt. I just stuck with the same undergarments to wear as like long underwear underneath my clothes. And I went with this nice long sweater that my mom got me for Christmas and paired it with that same necklace. This is so nice and cozy. And over this thing, which didn't even show because it had a high neck, I was very nice and warm and toasty. And then with these black suede front, faux suede front pants that I got from Black House White Market, and then again with my over the knee boots. And Again, I wore the nice wool leggings under the black pants, and then the boots over those, and then my nice big fur coat. We actually did have to walk a little way because we had dinner down in the town in Telluride that night. So I was really nice and warm and toasty for that long gondola ride up the mountain and then back down the mountain to Telluride, and then even for our walk. So very comfortable.
Misty Ann's closet reboot, she's getting organized. Misty Ann's closet reboot, what a sight for your sore eyes.
That is what I packed for my ski trip and how it all worked out. I had a wonderful time. If you are planning on going skiing, I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope that you come back in relatively one piece. I was a little bumped and bruised up, but you know what? Well worth the war wounds. Just please do be careful when you're out there. It's very easy to mess up your knees, mess up all kinds of different things, especially as you start to get my age and if you're newer at it. But I don't want you to let that discourage you. I was older when I first started learning, and I really love it. And if I could go out there a few times every year, I definitely would. Maybe I will in my retirement. So I definitely want to encourage you to try it if it's something new for you. Relax, enjoy it, have a great time. If this video was helpful for you, please give me a like, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next video.